Thank you so kindly. Thank you. Well, guys, I feel like the Lord gave me this message, and it's a little off. It's a little not what you would maybe expect from me. When I get the mic, you can expect me to, I don't know, talk about demons or miracles or things that seem really, really out there and far that maybe most of the church doesn't chat about a lot. What's that? Oh, sorry. Don't talk back if I can't respond to you. Jeez. But I have something that is equally as spiritual, but isn't weighed in the same kind of radical kind of way, and it's the fruits of the Spirit. And it's something that is just as miraculous that the Lord can do in a person that is operating naturally in the flesh, day in and day out, and then all of a sudden, the fruits of the Spirit are swept in on this person. And it's not necessarily a healing, it's not a deliverance, it's not a crazy manifestation, or it's the fruits of the Spirit being implanted into a person that is completely counter-natural to who they really are, or who they have been. Their flesh made them act and operate completely opposite to this until the Lord came and saved them. That is pretty miraculous as well. And we kind of just weigh it on a different scale, and I don't want to do that. I feel like we're entering into a season where the Lord really wants to encourage us and build us up by showing us, like, this is who you are. You're like me. And look around at the people that you see here. What kind of fruits do they have? If they have a fruit that they really excel in that you don't, I have given them, put them in your life so you can look at them and imitate them. As Paul says, as I imitate Christ. I want to read a couple things here real quick. In 1 Corinthians 10, into the first verse of 11, says, "Therefore, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all in the glory of God. Do it all in the glory of God, give no offense either to the Jews or the Greeks or to the church of God. Just as I also please all men in all things, not seeking my own profit, but the profit of many, that they may be saved. Imitate me as I imitate Christ." That's pretty good. That's pretty big. Now I want to go into Galatians real fast, where it speaks to the fruits of the Spirit. It talks about the fruits of the flesh as well. And if you have something that you want to write down, I'm going to have you rate yourself. This is going to be really religious. I'm going to have you rate yourself on which fruits of the Spirit you really excel in and what ones you don't. I'm not going to make you reveal these numbers or your judgment on yourself to anybody else. It's just between you and yourself. I want you to be honest if there's one that sticks out and you're like, man, I'm bad at that one. Verse 16, "Then I say, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that you wish. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contentions, jealousies, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambition, dissensions, heresies, envy, murders, drunkenness, revelries, and the like, of which I tell you beforehand, just as I also told you in the past, that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. But the fruit of the Spirit is love," and I'll read these over again, "love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. And those who are Christ have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires." Everything mentioned beforehand has been crucified with Christ and its passions and desires. If we live in the Spirit, If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. So, with your little rating, I'm going to read them out real quick. I hope we're all 10s out of 10s, but Jesus is probably the only one who's got a 10 out of 10 on every single one of these. But we're trying. First one, love. How loving are you to all people, even the worst person? Joy. How joyful are you even in the worst circumstances? 1 through 10. 1 being good, 10 being bad. Peace. How peaceful are you? How peaceful are you when everything's going wrong? How much peace do you sense? How close do you feel the Lord is taking care of everything when everything's going wrong? Long suffering. Can you endure a trial for 1 day, 2 days, weeks, and still trust that the Lord is going to be there and He's your helper? Long suffering. Kindness. How kind are you when you're talking to a jerk? Goodness. How good are you when everybody else is acting bad? Can you stand strong and keep being good? Faithfulness. Gentleness. Self-control. These fruits of the Spirit are just as spiritual as anything else. For you to walk these things out, it is the way that, as we just read, as Paul is saying, imitate me as I imitate Christ, that he gets to be a blessing to all people, that they can look at him and they can see that there's something different about him. So I got to demonstrate that in a very intense way. So from high school, I'm a very different person than I am today. And that got to be put on display as I went to a celebration for one of my buddies this last couple days, because he's getting married. And things got ugly in a way that I haven't seen in a really long time. Back in high school, we would jab at each other, we would talk trash, we would have fun, we would poke at each other. But now that we're not in high school anymore and we're adults, we tried to do that same thing, except what happened is this guy got really, really mad and he took everything that we were saying really, really personal when we were just talking about a game that he's really, really good at and I'm not very good at, but I'm just poking at him saying, dude, I bet I could beat you. And he's like, dude, I am incredible at this game. There's no way you'd stand a chance. And it got really ugly. Before I even knew it, he storms out of the room. He comes back, middle fingers are flying. He's cussing me out. He's cussing a few other people out. And I felt the fruits of the Spirit come in, where I got to display to everybody else in the room that since high school, I have been doing some work with the Lord, that he's been able to transform me in any situation to somebody that is different than you guys. That I'm not going to fight him back. That he goes on a 10-minute monologue just cussing me out as I just cross my legs, put my arm around, and I just listen to him so that he could just get it all out, where he just insults me to the greatest degree. And then I was like, buddy, if you want me to leave, I'll leave. That's all good. I don't want you to leave. This is your weekend, but if we can actually talk about this and solve some problem. He gets up in my face, and I'm like, I'm not going to fight you. I want to solve a problem. So I get to kind of express myself and apologize. And I said, back in the day, we used to do this. If we're older now and we can't do that anymore, I completely get that, and that's okay. I'll take that one. That one's on me. I didn't mean to personally hurt you in any way. I just want you to have a good weekend, and I'm sorry. So this started developing into a conversation where he started to look inwardly and realize that it's actually all of the contents of his life has shaken him up to this point where something really, really small would make him explode. So before this happened, and before he exploded on me, everything that we were doing in our friendship was completely fake. Everything was going wrong in his life. He wasn't feeling good, he wasn't happy, things with his family are breaking apart. But it had to be shaken up to such a point, and then in our relationship, because I was just messing around, it blew up to a point where something had to happen, something had to be solved. And until that point, we weren't actually being real with each other. So he went into the other room, and everyone is just sitting there like, dude, what the heck? Like, that was absolutely insane. He choked somebody before he went into the other room. And he goes in the other room, and I follow him, and he's in there, and he's sobbing, he's crying. And I just got to go over there and cry with him, put my arm around him. And just say, like, dude, I'm so sorry that everything with your family's so hard. I'm sorry that you're going to get married and none of your family is going to be there. I'm sorry that you feel alone and all this stuff has has just been building up to this point. He said he's sorry and whatnot. I was like, dude, you don't have to be sorry. We actually got to get somewhere where problems are going to be solved. And I say all of this because it was a proud moment for me where I got to display something in front of these people that I used to be really, really close with, that I'm a different person, that I have fruits that are different than their fruits, that I have something in my life that they should look at and that they should probably want. So we were in a conversation in our group chat, and something came up about a guy who's kind of silly. And I just was thinking like, man, does this person have fruits that I want? And when we're looking at each other, I think that we all have fruits that maybe isn't so good, but some of you have also fruits that are so, so good and so, so strong, and probably a 10 out of 10. If you're a 5 or something in that fruit, I want you to look at those people that you have in mind. If you rated yourself, and you said, this fruit is low for me, go and chat with that person. Go and observe their life. The same way that Paul said, imitate me as I imitate Christ. That these two are very spiritual things, because it is worship to kill the flesh and have our lives completely transform into what is like his Spirit, which is the fruits of the Spirit. To be looking like Jesus every single day, that praying and singing songs, as well as walking every single day out in the world looking like Jesus, is all ways to lift him high above the flesh and above everything else in this world, because you are acting completely counter-natural to the way that you were born. That is also a miracle that compares with healings and deliverances and multiplication of food. That there can be a multiplication of goodness out of absolutely nothing that started in you and me as a baby. He's the only one that can do that. He's the one that makes you look so contrary to the rest of the world, where everybody else has to take notice and realize that there truly is a God in the earth, because they're looking at you fulfill the fruits that he's given you that the world can't naturally have. That is good. That is a miracle. That is amazing. So I want us to just draw closer in community, be encouraged by each other. If there's a fruit that you see is low, I want you to go and chat with that person. There's a fruit that in me and Sammy's marriage that was low, and that was called having a ton of debt. We went and talked to Grant and Sydney. We said, how did you get to a place that was good? This is what brothers and sisters do. This is how we love each other. This is how we build each other up. This is what Jesus had in mind. So as we go over there, Jesus is the main thing. He's the one that gives these fruits. And he also has done some great work in each and every single one of us, that when you look at one of your brothers and sisters, see, Lord, I see what you've done in them, and I'm going to go admire it. You're not going and making that person an idol. You're going and lifting the Lord high because of what he's done in that person's life that's impossible, and saying, Lord, prophesy, come and do it again in me, so that I can walk in the fullness of all of the fruits that Jesus walked in, 10 out of 10, every single one. Love you guys. Let's go pray.